Well, we'd like to welcome Joan Milliman here, and today Joan is on talking about the Roberts Rules Study Club. Always good to see you, Joan.
Nice to see you, Ken.
And you've brought along, you're going to tell us
Good.
about this, a booklet here, Roberts Rules Simplified, right?
I'm going to put it up here.
All right.
We in the club, you know, we decided that we
just this
turn
way.
it so they can see.
There we go.
We decided we didn't want to just go through the rules every single time, so we found this little book which was called Roberts Rules Simplified by a fellow named Arthur Lewis. But what it is a collection of essays that appeared in the Christian Science Monitor in the 1930s.
Wow.
So this little collection's about 80 some years old. But what's nice about it is that they give you an understanding of the rules. You don't go through, well, this is emotion and this is, you know, how you make it, and it needs a second and so on. We figured that most of us in the club and those who come have more knowledge than that. So
easy to read. You could probably read this in probably an hour or so.
It's very pithy.
Yeah.
As it points out in the very first chapter, you know, some people know the rules, but they kind of take them for granted, like the weather. Right. You know. And then there are others that are very suspicious of the rules, and they think it's a bag of tricks, which a few people can run things, you know. Yeah. Well, neither one is correct. And this little guy points out that both attitudes are mistaken. And I want to share with you an idea that one of the Thomas B. Reed, who's the famous Speaker of the House of Representatives in the 1930s, he said, if a student has once fixed in his mind the idea that parliamentary law is not a series of arbitrary rules, but a plain, consistent system founded on common sense and sanctioned by the experience of mankind, he will have gone far toward understanding it. Yeah, and so that's sense. You know, all the rules confuse people and they get scared and they say, okay, we'll just vote. And you don't hear anything. You know that you're supposed to vote, but you don't know anything about making amendments and so on, nor do you care. You let somebody else do it. Yeah. So this actually gets people into talking about Robert's Rules and learning things about them. In other words, instead of rules, we're talking about reasons for the rules. And that, I think, is important. The very first chapter talks about reasons before rules. And it doesn't matter that you don't memorize all the rules, you know, that's not the idea. You learn a few at first and you keep practicing and it gets better and better. I'd share with you some of the ideas that they came up with. In that very first chapter, they have 12 fundamental, not rules, but kind of fundamentals. Yeah. For example, the organization is paramount. Yeah, exactly. If you're that goes above everything else. If you're going to be in a decision-making body, that body is first, you know, and its interest and convenience supersede those of an individual. And some people don't understand that, and they try to take over and run Robert's whatever. The other thing is all members are equal. Everybody has the right to propose business, to vote, to discuss the business, and these rights can't be suspended or taken away except in the interest of the whole, and then only by a 2/3 vote. So if you decide you need to let someone speak a little longer because it's pertinent, a vote has to be taken. And so someone moves that we allow this person to speak longer, and the vote that's taken has to be a 2/3 majority. Okay. So the business about, there are 12 of these principles, which I won't go through, but they're very interesting. But one of the things that comes up is the 2/3 vote. And, you know, we use a 2/3 vote whenever your rights are being changed. If they're going to lengthen the debate, or shorten the debate, or call for the question before everybody's finished. You know, if most people are finished and the chair says the chairman can't call for the question, somebody from the audience or from the audience, from the body has to make the motion to call for the question. Once that motion is made, then it gets a 2/3 vote to stop the discussion. Another one you learn is one thing at a time. One motion before the group at a time, one person speaking at a time, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And these principles are pretty simple. Propositions rather than persons. So the debate is impersonal. You're not arguing with somebody about their, what they said. You're arguing about the issue. Whether you agree with it or disagree and why.
Okay.
And the other thing is that the chair, which is interesting, the chair, there actually was a chair in front of the group, and that's why it was called the chair. So when someone took the chair, they became neutral. And it's their job to allow everyone to speak properly, appropriately, and to keep things in order. So the chair always says, the chair recognizes so-and-so, instead of so-and-so and so-and-so. We tend to forget that the chair is an objective thing, and remains objective. So that's the kind of thing we're doing. And there are other chapters in here. Of course, after that first chapter, after we've gone through the fundamentals, they go through things like how to organize, what and why are bylaws, the whole is greater than its parts. I'm reading delegating duties, keeping on the right road, and so on. There are 18 little essays in here. Each one is very short and very pithy. Yeah. And it just gets us all talking,
And people can find this obviously online.
Online. Okay. And of course, if you join the club, you'll get one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's good. Yeah, so check that out. Now, as far as the club goes, how often do you meet and where do you meet?
We meet once a month, the second Saturday of every month at 9 a.m. in the towers up in the Key Club. Okay. And believe me, it's worth your while. Some of it's formal and some of it's not, and we get into some heavy discussions about, well, what happened in your club or your group this week. Okay. And we talk about problems that come up in parliamentary procedure, and it's fun.
Now, as far as dues, are there any dues to be officially part of the club?
Yes, I think it's like $12 or something like that.
All right.
It's not bad.
And you get one of these.
And you get one of those.
All right, so that's good. But if you want to find this online, I'm sure you can. It's only $4, so.
It's less than that some places.
Yeah. So unless you have like Amazon Prime, costs you more for shipping than probably the book itself. But that's great. And as far as getting to know this, it's especially if you are part of any club, it's a good thing. Not just part of the boards, but part of the clubs use this as well.
We get, people from clubs come with problems, and we all talk, Yeah. We discuss and help sort out things that are parliamentary procedures. Yeah. And it's important that one uses these in a group, because it's not fair otherwise. One of the reasons for parliamentary law at all is to make things fair.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And actually, the law that's underlying this is the Golden Rule.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. So you can look online at the club pages to find out more information about Robert's Rules. And it's the second Saturday of the month.
Saturday.
So have you already met?
We had it just last Saturday.
Trying to figure out what.
I'm a little late. Next month I'll be on time.
All right. Good to have you here, and pick up this booklet if you can. And even if you're not part of a club or not part of sitting on a board, it's good things to know.
Well, Robert's Rules, I think, is going to make sure that all the board members have one.
Okay.
All the GRF board members have them, but we're going to work on the rest.
All right. Always good to see you.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks so much.
All right. And just want to remind folks that Joan also chairs the Media and Communication Committee, which will be today at 1:30 in the boardroom.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We'll be right back.